Hello everybody, welcome to the Football Fill-In. Now, before we get into today's show, we did a podcast with Juan Mata, El Mago, the magician. It is out this Thursday on the Fozcast. Watto, Tom, it was brilliant.
Oh, it filled me with joy. He's been like a hero of mine. Like when he was like prime Chelsea, early United back in the day, he's always been a bit of a hero. And he was, one, the nicest man in the world. And secondly, unbelievable guest.
Phenomenal podcast. Make sure you get that Thursday, 4 p.m. on the Fozcast on Spotify, okay? Right, we've got to start the show. Obviously, the very sad news of Diogo Jota on Friday and his brother Andre. We're just going to remember him for, firstly, he was a lovely human being by all accounts. All of the things that his fellow friends and fellow footballers have said about him, everything sounds like he was just top, absolutely top class. We're going to remember him, a couple of the goals that he scored past me. So, one of the goals he scored, do you remember the Wolves one? The Ruben Neves ball over the top. I did an interview after the game, Watto, where I said the wind caught the ball. Oh. And it was Diogo who got on the end of it. Diogo just rapid pace as per usual, nice and calm under pressure, and just slotted it in. And it was about the 90th minute as well.
I do remember that.
Winner.
I do remember, yeah.
Oh, winner, yeah.
Oh,
it was 1-1. Ball came over the top from Neves, just beautiful ball, and guaranteed it caught the wind as well. But Diogo was there to slot it in as well, and I was just like, oh.
That's the thing, isn't it, Watto? Like, obviously, the whole football community's come out, and the one take I kind of got from it is that everybody, bar nobody, says, like, firstly, as a bloke, he was just a lovely human.
Oh, yeah, it were really, obviously, devastating news for anybody in his family and the football community, but the outpouring of love towards him as a human being, foremost, were incredible, what his teammates and everybody who'd been associated with him said. And naturally, I'm a bit like Ben, you go into your own footballing thoughts of him, and one of my last games for Southampton were up at Liverpool, 4-0 hammering, usual Liverpool on fire, and he scored 2 goals and should have probably had a hat-trick, to be fair. But yeah, you think about the human side of it first, and yeah, he were an amazing guy and an amazing footballer, and it's really tragic for obviously his family, him and his brother, obviously, but we try and remember the positives in terms of his football ability. Painful for us to feel it against us for sure, but he was some player, and it'll be a big miss for Liverpool and obviously the football community,
yeah,
and his family.
And his brother Andre as well. You just can't comprehend it, can you?
No, it's scary. I think it's just a real reminder of, I think everybody put footballers on pedestals and think they're immortal, they think they're invincible. But it just goes to show they're all the same. We're all the same. Anything can happen in the blink of an eye. So it's a reminder to just enjoy yourself, enjoy life. Don't worry, don't stress about stuff. It is what it is. It's going to happen what's going to happen. So try and have a nice time. The second goal he scored past me, by the way, was for Liverpool. I was at Watford, 2022. First goal of the game, Watto. I don't want to see this one again either, to be honest with you. I don't want to see this one. Joe Gomez crossed from the right-hand side, and I've come searching for it, and Diogo's just gone, oh, cheers, ran across the front post, got the flick in, just put it in the corner.
Well done, Diogo.
Oh, well done, brilliant. Yeah, Diogo Jota and your brother Andre. Yeah, really, really sad. But we're going to crack on with the show now. What we're going to talk about today, boys, because it's pre-season. Is there much going on? Yes, there's much going on. There's plenty going on still.
Oh, there's so much.
There's always scandal.
So much to talk
always
about.
Transfers, always stuff
about.
going on. Should we talk about Ollie Watkins possibly to Manchester United? Because Gabby Agbonlahor was talking about it earlier in the week, and he basically said that if he was to go to Manchester United, it is a downgrade. He's leaving a better football club, and it's a downgrade.
He said it's a step down.
He got pummeled for it as well.
He got absolutely pummeled.
Gabby did.
Now, what Gabby didn't say was Villa are a bigger club than Man United, because they're not.
No, true.
What he said was it's a step down. Now, United fans might cry about it, but the reality is that right now, it would be a step down.
Exactly.
Right now.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And I'm talking from the way that the club's positioned, the culture within the club, and more importantly, on the pitch.
Yeah.
Now,
sure.
give it 5 years and 10 years, football's cyclical. United will come back around. They will be back at the top of the perch at some point, without doubt. But right now, It's a step down.
It's a step down. It's without a doubt a step down. I think he's still kind of very important to Aston Villa. He's a main man at Aston Villa. I worry that if he went to Manchester United, not only is it a step down where he would be playing for a team that won't do as well as Villa next year, but I don't even think they would... Like, Man United have this... It's almost like they feel like they should be signing the big names. And I reckon Man United would sign him and the fans would almost be thinking, Ollie Watkins? Like, is that what we are now at the minute? Ollie Watkins? But he's without doubt better than any forwards at Manchester United.
Yeah, look, Man United obviously would relish the opportunity to have him. But Gabby got his language wrong. But in essence, in football terms, what he said is right. Watkins going to Man United is a downgrade in terms of the football, 100%. Man United as an iconic football club, even though Villa's got amazing history, and I love the football club, Man United is obviously bigger, but in football terms at the minute, for Watkins to go there, he's not going to achieve at United what he possibly can achieve at Aston Villa.
But I disagree there, Ben. I think United fans would snap your hand off for him. And
do you not think... But if they're paying that money... The only reason why I say that is because I think if they're paying... What are they going to have to pay for Ollie Watkins? 50, 60 mil? 50 mil?
I would have thought so.
Yeah. They would be saying, well, surely there's a bigger, juicier, younger, sort of like more up-and-coming 50, 60 million quid that's better on Championship Manager because I've seen him on TikTok. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the sort of feeling I would get with
this. It's built... But United are... They're in a position where, unfortunately, they haven't got the luxury of going... Look, for example, Zubamendi, let's go and buy him because there are other people ahead of them in the race. I know he's not a striker, but just to make the point. So I think they'd look at Watkins and as a signing going, he's proven Premier League goal scorer. So in his last 5 seasons, 14 goals, 11 goals, 15, 19, 16. Yeah. If he scores 16 goals in the Premier League for Man United next season, if he were to go there, that would be a good return for him. And it's a building block. And if they were to get Mbeumo through the door, they've got Cunha, they've got potentially Watkins, that's a good front three, that.
It is a good front three. I just think Man United fans would be a little bit... They'd turn their nose up at it a little bit.
I don't think so. I don't think they would.
Do you not?
I don't. Well, we're not Man United fans.
But I think he's an improvement on what they've got, isn't he?
Definitely.
So that's where, as a Man United fan, you've got to say, look, Højlund... Are we still saying he's got potential? Like, this is going to be a big year for him. But Watkins is a massive move forward in terms of what Højlund produced last year. But I agree in a little bit. Man United are used to having world stars, and I don't think Watkins is a world star. He's a very, very good Premier League footballer. But I just don't think, if I were him, unless money talks and Villa really need to sell with the rules, I don't see that's a good move for Watkins.
For Watkins, yeah, possibly not. But for United, he's a player that I think he's 29. They're not signing a world star right now. But what he does is he bridges the gap, Ben. Yeah, he gets them into the top
that's
half.
what it is. I agree with that. He will bridge a gap for now. But I do still think that Man United fans just want a juicier signing still. But they're not there yet. They're still not that club. But I think the fans still believe they are. Because they're Manchester United, they are this global icon of a football club. And they are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. It's as simple as that. And Gabby did get his words wrong. But on the pitch and the way that they're going to attack this season, they're going to be mid-table again. They will. They'll be mid-table.
I think a Watkins signing would epitomise where they're getting everything wrong in terms of football. If he is 29, we're not quite sure, 29, 30, but he's coming towards 30, and at 30, the value in terms of the transfer value, if they sign him, plummets massively.
Oh, there's no resale.
No, so it doesn't fit. Like, I spoke about this with Arsenal last show, I think. Why do they not look at a young Delap where there's some legs in it? All right, he'd only had 1 season in the Premier League. But, like, United fans would definitely look the noses up at a Delap because of the old-fashioned style and centre-forward. But actually, he would have had all the things we talk about because football is a massive business now to move it forward. Watkins can only get Man United to mid-table,
if they can get, and then both parties want, Villa want to sell, United want to buy. If the United can get him, I think it's a brilliant signing. I do.
I agree.
He'll score goals.
He's a proven Premier League striker. He stays fit quite often. He's always going to be there, and he scores you goals. And I think that's the bit there that's the bridge, really. It's the bridge.
And you throw him in with someone like Cunha, right? Having watched a lot of Cunha, those two, the way that Ollie works the line, and he's clever movement. Those two together, I'm telling you.
Well, the link-up he had with last year Tillemans, and then the year before, who were the midfield player who left?
Douglas Luiz.
Yeah, I mean, the link-up. So if he got a similar pathway with Kuna...
Yeah.
Fozzie, would you swap Milan for Burnley?
Oh, that is a bit of a change, isn't it? Blooming heck. Yeah, this is I think for Burnley it's an unreal signing. Absolutely unreal. Like experience, you've still got a really phenomenal right back there. You have. Again, everybody knows he's probably lost a little bit of that pace, but he's still absolutely rapid. But proven, always fit, always ready to go, always ready to play. He'll be able to pass down a lot of knowledge onto those players around him. But I just think for Kyle, this is going to be a tough old season. Yeah. This is going to be a tough old season. And something that he's not used to either. You think of what he's just been through for the last 10, 12 years odd at Man City. Yeah. This is the opposite end of the table.
He's going in with Scott Parker. I think he played with
He did play with Scott, yeah, Spurs, yeah.
So for Scott Parker as well, it's really shrewd, isn't it, Watto?
Yeah.
Because he's got a lieutenant on the front line now, hasn't he?
I think for Burnley it's an amazing deal, and Scott Parker probably cheekily give him a call because of the contacts they'd got, just to see if there were any legs in it, probably thinking this is like a waste of my time call. And it just shows you the lure of coming back home for Kyle rather than Milan and playing in the English Premier League. It really, really suits him. But like you said, this has taken him back to Sheffield United days. This is not the world he's been used to from Spurs and Man City, and it'll be a real challenge. But because Burnley know they're going to be hanging on with the coattails, they need them experienced players. And I actually think for Scott to get this one over the line, it's an amazing deal.
But you think as well, though, if they manage to stay up, what a challenge accepted. From Kyle Walker. He's done amazing things. I think he's on 96 England caps. He's won countless honours at City. But if he could stay up,
this would be the biggest achievement of his career. If Burnley stay up this season, surely this is up there with winning Champions League.
Treble, mate.
Mate, I don't know. I guarantee you the odds of Burnley staying up this season are a lot higher.
What do you reckon the odds would be now?
Still
10-1?
Yeah, I'll have a look in a minute. Get relegation odds up, Jay.
I reckon there'll be 50-60 already.
What? No.
But that's the challenge he's got. But I know him a little bit, and the one thing I would say here is it's just a challenge for his mentality to try and get that group anywhere near it, because obviously he's an unbelievable footballer, even though his legs are obviously at 35 starting to go. But what he can bring to that group, and actually still to the team, will be phenomenal. But I agree with Ben. I know, look, winning a treble is a unique and incredible experience. But the odds of Burnley staying up this year, I think...
Very slim. But it just goes to show, though, that geography for footballers is a big thing.
Yeah.
So the reason why he can sign for Burnley, or why he signs for Burnley, is because he's north-based anyway. Obviously, he's got roots in Manchester. Burnley's not a million miles away. It's kind of, I can go there and play and still live where I live.
But that's the thing, we joked about it at the top of the kind of conversation about moving from Milan to Burnley. And I think a lot, like myself included, you'd go, oh, now Kyle, go and do a couple of years in Europe, a couple of years in MLS, and just... But it doesn't... The practicalities aren't like that, are they, Ben? Because if someone said to me now, right, go on, Tomo, go and do a couple of years in America, I go, oh, yeah, but my family, my friends...
Yeah,
it's the same, isn't it?
It's the same, exactly that. We've just got the odds up, by the way. Burnley are 4-11 to get relegated. Which, you know what, that's not sort of bang on. It's not bang on. Sunderland are favourites 1-3. Burnley 4-11. Leeds 10-11, and then it's Wolves at 10-3. Yeah. Brentford at 7-2. West Ham at 6-1. So yeah, the odds say that they are getting relegated, but we all know it's never as straightforward as that.
Well, they've signed the young. I don't even want to pronounce the name of the young.
Mate, they've been busy in general. They've signed a load of players already. Burnley have. I think they've been the busiest with numbers through the door.
Don't need to be, but it's good that again it's done early. The other thing, Fozzie, which I'm kind of reading about earlier on, is the Burnley owner Alan Pace, who his company VSB, set to buy Espanyol over obviously in Barcelona. Now, it's another kind of dual ownership here. I don't know what your thoughts are, guys, but I just don't like this model creeping in. I think it almost like encourages skullduggery
That's
within
exactly
the game.
why they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's exactly why they're doing it. So they can sort of, it's a much easier way of sort of like funneling players through to other clubs from different nationalities. Spain, it's a lot easier for Brazilian players, example, Argentinian players, those American-based ones to get contracts or sign work permits in Spain as well, isn't it? And then get them into England, and you can sell your own players to yourself for a premium price as well, I suppose. But yeah, it's a done thing now. Yeah, you know, most football clubs in the Premier League, the owners own another club in a different league somewhere, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's a real strange one to us, but it's the modern way now. Like my last couple of years at Southampton, they hadn't gone over the line with it, but they were just on the cusp of buying clubs. I think they've got 3 other clubs now in France, Turkey and wherever. So it is the way. What I would say on this one is it's a big club, Espanyol.
Yeah.
In some ways would be bigger than the Burnley, even though Burnley are playing in the English Premier League. So that's a slightly different model in terms of the exposure of Espanyol, you know, in the La Liga type situation. So that would be 2 massive clubs, but it's all about business. That's what it's about. Football's become...
They know what they're doing.
Football's
Nicholas
become...
Oidek is still playing for Espanyol.
Oidek, wow, you're old. You're so old.
Sensible soccer, mate. 96, 97.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Arsenal signed somebody, lads. They've signed somebody, and I think it's a fantastic signing. Zubimendi, £51 million. Lovely player, perfect, like fills in for where Thomas Partey is going to be leaving, defensive sort of midfield. And they've been linked with a few others as well. So, Noni Madueke, I think would be a good signing. He's not going to start week in, week out, but I think if Saka ever does get injured, which is fairly kind of often, it's a very good replacement, a very, very good replacement. They're still getting linked with a couple of others. Gyökeres is apparently very close now, and even Abarici Eze. No. And I think if they do manage to get Gyökeres over the line, which I think, like I say, is close, if they get Eze, Arsenal will...
If they get Gyökeres and Eze...
they've got to be up there.
Like, Madueke, I was looking earlier on, he had a decent season last year. He scored 7 in 32 in the Prem, and obviously there's real talent there. But Eze's that probably step further on in his...
Eze's good to go.
In his development.
Eze's good to go. He's
but that's what they need. So that's what I like about Zubimendi. I can't lie and say, he's this. I haven't watched hours and hours and hours of footage, but from everything you hear and what I have seen from him, he is a perfect signing. But like you said, Ben, he's 26 and he is the finished article, ready to go. Yeah. And I think that's what Arsenal need, Watto. Yeah. They need finished articles, don't they?
No, he's going to hit the ground running. Obviously, Norgard coming in the building as well, Premier League experience. But Zubimendi will come in and hit the ground running. But I'm a bit like you. I think Madueke would make him a better squad, and he'll be on the fringe of it for sure. But if you get Gyökeres, although he's not got the Premier League experience, look, you would expect him to hit the ground running as well, to be fair, because Arsenal, to be fair to them, create a lot of chances. But I'm a bit like you. I think for them to be really closer to Liverpool, if they could sign Eze, oh my God, that would be the signing of the summer, to be honest with you.
How old is Eze, Jay?
He's got to be, 24? Well, 25?
I really like the ages of these signings, I really love the ages of these signings. So
how old?
Eze, 27 years old, right? Gyökeres, 27 years old, and Zubimendi, 26 years old, right? I just think that they're the age of players that Arsenal need now. That's what they need, right? They don't need any more sort of 19, 20 years old. Like, you had a drop-off last season when Saka got injured, and you've got Martinelli filling over that side, Trossard doing a bit over that side. There's a bit of a drop-off, right? But when you've got Madueke through the door, you've got 27-year-old Gyökeres leading the line for you. Do you know that Arsenal have signed more goalkeepers in the last 3 years than they have forwards? Yeah? That's like, they're crying out for this. They've got to get this Gyökeres deal over the line. And once they get that over the line, I reckon Eze is going to be banging on that door going, listen, now's probably the time. Now's probably the time, because I want to be a part of that Arsenal team.
If they were to sign Gyökeres and Eze, that is Arsenal saying we want to win the league.
We're
this
right
year.
up there.
Like, we're not planning for 2-3 weeks. This is about the here and now.
But that's what they've needed to do for a while, because that would be a real statement of intent. The question I would ask is, if they're going to go into Palace and try and get him, what kind of figure we're talking here?
Apparently he's got a release clause in his contract, hasn't he? I've heard somewhere he's got a little 60, 70 odd million pound release clause.
But I know that's a lot of money, but I think in the modern world at 27, that's a snip.
Yeah.
But what he's going to bring to that team.
For proven Premier League.
Proven Premier League, and don't get me wrong, in the previous years he's had a few little injuries, right? But I think he's found a way now at 26 years old to be fit, to be match fit and match ready.
67 mil.
£67.5 million release clause. And I just think that is an absolute no-brainer. Get it paid, get it done early doors as well. Don't leave it lingering until the transfer window's about to close. If they get that one through the door as well as Gyökeres, they're ready to go for next season.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So Gyökeres, I think, has got an 80 mil release, but at the age that he's at, Sporting have come out and said, we know we're not getting that for him. So would it represent good value if they could get Eze and Gyökeres for 120?
Unbelievable. Absolutely. For ready-to-go players that were going to go straight into a team, it's a no-brainer.
I think it's a no-brainer, but we know, obviously, it's the start of the business week this week.
Yeah.
All them Premier League teams are going to be starting back work this week. And if you're managers, coaches, you're putting so much pressure on directors of football and CEOs to get these deals done because you want your squad in the building. They'll have 2 or 3 days here and then they'll be shooting off all over the planet to do the pre-season tours, but you want your group with you for that, you know what I mean? And for Arsenal to really get near Liverpool, who have already done all their business, or the majority of it, they've got to be following the same path.
This Arsenal squad as well, then, I think that's them done as well, because they've got, think about the talent of what they've got. They've already got Odegaard in there, they've got Declan Rice in there, Norgard, new arrival, Madueke possibly, Eze. They're good to go, yeah? They're good. They're stacked now. They're getting to the point where they definitely don't need any more first-team starters.
They're getting depth, aren't
they don't need any more first-team starters now, right? What they need is, now then they can look at the 18, 19-year-olds. We can look at potentials for the futures, yeah? They're now maybe 1 or 2, and that'll do them.
Where else do you see them? Because I look at it and think, obviously they've got Gabriel and Saliba that are rock solid, but with so many games this season, I'd like to see maybe one more centre-back of a level.
Yeah, it's really tough, though, when you've got 2 rock-solid, guaranteed 100% starters, mate. It's so hard to sign somebody.
Is that because the players come in and go,
I've got no chance.
I'm going to be playing?
Well, I mean, that's what's happened, isn't it, really? Yeah. Obviously, Ben White plays on the side. Calafiori come in to be a centre-half. He's going to end up playing full-back as well, because it's going to be hard for the real big games to shift that centre-half pairing. But that's where, actually, they should be looking at a young centre-half, 17, 18, 19, wherever he's plying his trade, and think about a little bit for the future, because at the minute you're not going to be able to sign a real big one to get in with them guys. But looking for the future is where they need to be, and that's where the director of football and sporting directors get involved in all that.
And Gyökeres, Foz, has apparently been told he can come in late to pre-season. Does that mean that it's basically that gives them time to get the deal done? Yeah,
that's exactly what it is, basically. They just don't need him to be in and around the other lads, because they know that he's going now, so there's no point in him turning back up for training at Sporting and saying hello to everybody, starting a bit of this, doing a bit of testing, when in reality they know he's not going to be here.
And telling everybody how much money he's going to earn. You know what I mean? Upset everybody.
Our local team, Coventry. I wonder if Cov have got a percentage.
I think they have, yeah.
Have they?
They have, yeah. I think they get something for it.
I would have thought so. That would be a good deal for Cov.
I think they get something for it, which would be massive.
But I've got a better one. So you're talking about Gyökeres not turning up, letting it all settle down because they're waiting for the big move to Arsenal. Man United have got about half a dozen of these, haven't they?
Mate, come on, can I just put my little 2 cents worth in this, please, right? So the news broke last week, that 5 Man United players have handed in transfer requests. And as soon as I saw that, I thought, there's no way on this earth any one of them 5 has handed in a transfer request. It just hasn't happened. I promise you it hasn't happened. Do you know why? Because as soon as you hand a transfer request in, the club then has the power to say, right, you've handed this contract request in, right? We don't have any obligation to pay you any remaining this, that, or whatever, okay? It's up to you to try and find a transfer, and when that transfer happens, you're the one that's going to have to push it. That's all it does. It gets the club off the hook like you wouldn't believe, especially when you're talking about the players that we're talking about. Jadon Sancho, 300 grand a week. Rashford, 350 grand a week, yeah? Garnacho, 150 grand. Like, a lot of money, an awful lot of money. And what it does is it forgoes the rest of that contract. Whereas if that player is so unhappy and they're a bit
What do you mean it
disruptive,
forgoes the rest of the contract?
Well,
if they don't lose any money on the back of it.
if a player has 3 years left of his deal, for example, right, and the manager doesn't want that player, so let's take Marcus Rashford, for example. He's got 3 years left on his contract. The player is not wanted by Amorim. He's not wanted by Manchester United, right? If he was to go and sign for, I don't know, Barcelona, for example, yeah, for 30 million quid, he will say, Marcus Rashford, I don't want to go to Barcelona, but Man United will say, but we want you to go to Barcelona. He's going, yeah, that's cool, but I'm on 350 grand a week, yeah? That's 15, 16 million quid a year, 45 million over the next 3 years. I'll go to Barcelona, but you need to pay me half of that amount.
In terms of cutting a deal.
Exactly. I want half of that contract paying to me, and then I'll go and sign to Barcelona. But by handing a transfer request in, he'll have to forgo all of that kind of stuff. So it just hasn't happened. It's as simple as that. No player does that now unless they are fully out of the loop, they're fully miserable, and they're not on massive wages.
I mean, I don't love this headline. I can't lie. I saw the headline of 5 United players handing transfer requests, and it is sensationalising it. But when you look at what Amorim's trying to do, and he is trying to get rid of these players and improve the culture, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? The only one there, like for me, you've got Anthony, Garnacho, Rashford, Sancho, Malacia. Garnacho's behaviour has been questionable, to say the least.
Well, he's been walking around in Villa shirts all summer, hasn't he?
I mean, that's just wild, isn't it?
He's repping his boy. I get the anger from the Man United fans. I totally understand that. And when I was playing, I'd never have done anything like that personally. But listen, he's doing it he knows he's going to get reaction. But he knows he's going to get reaction.
Is there anyone around him strong enough?
No.
To go,
none of them.
Mate, what the hell are you doing?
No.
Delete that now, or do not do that.
That's the problem with football nowadays. There's so much money in it that he'll have a bunch of yes men round him, and they'll all be saying, yeah, it's fine,
But the culture of United from where you were, like if Fergie were manager of that football club, oh my, it wouldn't even be a thing, because it wouldn't have even been thought about. The moment one of his mates handed him that Villa shirt, or he thought about buying the Villa shirt on, whatever he did, it is just the biggest red flag you've ever known. So the cultural thing at Man United has changed beyond all belief. But what I do think that Amorim's trying to do here is try to put a statement out, and he's trying to force the hand of these 5 players, because, like Ben said earlier, he wants them to make the request and try and save some money, but he also knows he don't want them guys in the building. Malacia, I'm not sure whether that's ability or, issues with his mentality and body language and all that other things. But the other 4 guys, for sure, he just don't want in that building.
Do you think they might look at Anthony and go, and just have a second thought, based on what he did on loan last season at Betis? Do you think there's any element at the club where they might go,
yeah,
there's a bit of doubt?
Yeah, I think it depends on his personality as well. I think if he comes back for pre-season training, for example, and he's personable, he's good around the place, he looks a happier human being, and then that will translate onto the pitch as well, because you see him last season at Betis, he's smiling, he's happy, isn't he? So he's playing good football.
Goals,
it goes hand in hand, it really does. But when he puts that red Man United shirt on, I think he feels the pressure too much. I just think it's too big for him. I really do. But a lot of players, as they get older, you start to be a bit more professional, you understand it, experience starts playing a factor, and you can learn to deal with that pressure. I just don't know if he's going to be ready for it. It will be big to see what happens when he comes back to pre-season training, really. But I think it's up to the manager. If it's not the sort of player that he wants, then it's not the sort of player he wants. The 4 that you mentioned there, they're the big earners. They're the ones who will definitely not be handing in a transfer request. Malacia, there's a possibility because he hasn't been playing. I think he was out on loan last season, wasn't he, to somebody?
Yeah, he was. He was in PSV, I think.
PSV. So he's won the league with PSV, but even PSV didn't decide to make it into a long-term deal. They didn't decide to sign him or make it permanent. So I don't really know what's going on with that one. But with the other 4, they're all on massive wages. They will not be handing in.
With Rashford, though, Watto, is there, because obviously he said he doesn't want to take a pay cut. He's got a contract, absolutely within his rights to do that. Yeah. Now, could his ego get United out of trouble here? Because there has been whispers of Barcelona, and if he's going to go, it looks like United are going to have to subsidise it, maybe half the wages, maybe more. But with a Barcelona, would that possibly tweak his mindset?
I would hope that that's got to get the juices flowing, surely. I mean, come on.
And then there might be a compromise.
Yeah, and for him, he knows his time at Man United's done. He stepped across the line for Villa last year and made the move to come away from Man United, where he'd been all his career. But if you've done what he's done and still has any possibility to potentially go and play for Barcelona, if there's any football life left within you, you've got to take that opportunity. And I know we'll talk about massive wages and that, but United would subsidise somewhere. But just for him to have the opportunity to go and play for Barcelona, I think you have to take that. Otherwise, your football...
It's just whether... I guess the question is, because I don't know whether it's a game, cat and mouse, but, you know, out of Barca, he's not the number one target on the transfer list, or on their shopping list. But I guess the question would be, why would he be, Ben?
Exactly that. Why would he be? But if he is, because there's been a lot of rumours about it and there's never any sort of smoke without fire, is there? If he is on their radar and it becomes a possibility, the question will have to be, does he want it? Because if Marcus Rashford is going to go and sign for Barcelona, he knows what he's signing up for. Ooh. He's signing up for a bigger club than what he's already at. And not only is it a bigger club, the expectations of him personally will be even more at Man United than the Man United, because you go to Barcelona, and if you don't try a leg at Barcelona, mate, they'll let you know. They'll let you know in a heartbeat.
It's the white handkerchief straight away.
It's the white handkerchief, and you're done and dusted before you even get started. So if he's not willing to go there and be the most professional he's probably ever been in his career for at least a season, then there's no point in going.
The only thing with this whole Marcus Rashford situation, Watto, is I just always feel like there's something more going on there. There's a bit of something beyond the surface here. Do you think there will have been an Amarim or people before him, somebody at the club, somebody within the team, that has sat down with him and genuinely asked him the question, are you okay? Like, is everything all right beyond football?
I think within the dressing room, it will have got some close associates. Whoever they are, I don't know. I would say the off-field stuff, I don't think he's surrounded himself with the people that have really thought about his football career as much as what they should. I would hope he's got a real couple of trustees, whether they're at United or possibly other clubs, even like a Kyle Walker type guy who's got the experience, to somebody he can have a proper, honest conversation with, because it's a real waste of his talent and ability to be in this situation. He should have been a Man United icon throughout his whole career, and possibly a one-club man until the very end, when it could have been America or Saudi. But the way he's conducted himself and created this scenario around himself, to even have to step out and go to Villa last year, is absolutely crazy. And unless he's got some proper support within the close football world and gets his football head on, it's going to be a sad demise for the rest of his career.
Because there's so much talk of him, and when you look at the numbers, he's played 10 seasons in the Premier League. Granted, some of them have been at the start of his career and he didn't play a full season. But he's only scored 10 or more Premier League goals 4 times in his season, when we look at Ollie Watkins earlier on. But that's one of those stats where it's a bit misleading, because when you go back to the eye test and go, when he's really on it, he's a frightening talent, which is why it's such a mystery, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think he's probably been a victim of his own success, though. And when you sign in these big, long contracts on massive money, you've got to be really careful. Football clubs have got to be really careful who they give big money to and big contracts. You've got to make sure that they're the right person who can deal with all of this that's going to come with it. And when you're on 350 grand a week and you have most of the day to do what you want to do, because footballers only really train from sort of like, they're in the building from about 9 a.m. till probably 1:30, 2ish, yeah? Then they've got the rest of the day by themselves. And when you're in that situation, everything's a possibility, especially when you've got that much money, right? Everything's a possibility. And when it keeps coming in, we speak about it all the time, it softens you, right? It does, it softens you. You think, well, I don't really need to do too much more, really. I could stop playing football now and I'd have enough for 10 lifetimes. And you've got to be so careful who you give it to. Sometimes you've got players, you look at some of those Liverpool players, Virgil van Dijk, Mo Salah, I would give them whatever they want, because I know every single day they'll do it properly, professionally, and they'll be the consummate, okay? But when you're talking about some of these players we're talking about, I just don't think they've got this fire burning. They still haven't got this fire burning. They had it at some point, but then when they sign that contract, that fire just gets put out a little bit. And then even if you're a couple % off, you're nowhere near the same.
You're 100%, but surely a club of Barcelona's stature, if that is possible for him, that has to get your juices flowing. All his life, he's fought to be a Man United player from being 3, 4, 5 years of age and come through the whole pathway. He wanted to be a footballer. He's had what it's been at Man United, and now you've got the second or third biggest club on the planet, potentially, coming for you because of what you're capable of doing.
Yeah.
If that can't get you out of bed and get you to really stimulate yourself again, then it's a sad
I think that tells a story in itself, doesn't it? If that's not something you want to do, then...
Be interesting to see what happens. Hypotheticals we were talking earlier on, 120 odd mil for Gyökeres and Eze. Now, just talking of the Club World Cup, so Chelsea are now in the semi-final and they're in for approximately 75 million, give or take. I don't know the exact numbers. But you said something earlier on, Fozzie, about it almost being unfair.
Yeah, it is, though. It's so unfair, right? If you're in this tournament, then obviously you deserve to be there, don't get me wrong, because you've won something, you've achieved something. But I just think that for the other teams in your league back home, like, you haven't got a chance of competing.
But isn't that the same with the Champions League?
Yeah, it is, but then you've got the little filter leagues below it where it's like, you know, Europe and the reason why they're there is because they've achieved, and I agree that they probably deserve that. But then again, it's all relative because you're going to be paying higher transfer fees, you've got higher wages, so you kind of rely on that. You're hanging your hat on the Champions League. Whereas this, it's going to come along once every 4 years, and if you're in that tournament, then you have got such a massive head start because, like, theoretically, right, if you're one of the English teams, you're going to be one of the big boys, and you'd like to think that they would be getting to probably quarters. Yeah, I know Man City lost in the knockout stages, but you're still going to hopefully get out your group. You're still going to hopefully get to the knockout stage, which is going to be at least about 50 million quid, right? If you're getting to the quarters, semis, even finals, you're talking 75, 100 million quid. Now that's Champions League money already, yeah? So that's, like, we're talking about signings there of Gyökeres and Eze. If you go and win the Club World Cup, for example, you've already paid for the players that you need to really compete for the next season. And I just think there's another probably 17 teams back in your league, 18 teams back in your league that are looking going, what chance have we got?
It's another layer of the haves and have-nots.
Massive
really,
layer. I think it's massive, yeah.
Well, I think the Premier League were really good last year in terms of, obviously, the league will finish, but top two, even though Arsenal dropped off a bit towards the end, but that group of 6 teams trying to get in them Champions League spots were good. But the point you're making is, if you're one of the teams that gets to that 2029 World Cup, Club World Cup, you should not be fighting in that bit because you'll have the quality of player to guarantee you're getting in that top 2. And it does then make it tougher for your Villas. And
clubs are going to be
are
going to be attacking this Club World Cup now like it's
there will be.
It's more important than probably any other tournament. Genuinely, it has to be financially because the club, right? They'll play it as though we're going there to try and hopefully do well, but really they're thinking we need to get as far as we can, and this is imperative. And they'll be having conversations, I guarantee you, with the players, with the staff, with the manager, saying, this ain't a joke, you know.
Well, they'll be heavily incentivised.
Heavily incentivised. This is serious business.
I think the ownership and the directors of football would have been into Pep and Maresca saying this is not part of a little jaunt for us this year. This is big business for us to say where we're going to be at.
I bet you when Chelsea won that the Champions League a few years back, yeah, they've probably announced this new reformatted Club World Cup and gone, God's sake, we've got to take part in this. What? There's how much money at stake? They would have been thinking, oh my gosh.
Well, that's where probably all the deals that have been happening is partly based on this.
Yeah.
Because the figures are astronomical.
Frightening money.
So do you think, just going back to Arsenal a little bit, so if they were to sign 2 of Madueke as a Gyökeres, do you think they're going to challenge? Are they going to be right at the sharp end, toe-to-toe with Liverpool?
Yes, I do. I think it's going to be a good season next season. I'm looking forward to it being much more competitive. I've enjoyed last season. I enjoyed it. I thought Liverpool were brilliant, but the other side stories, plots of what was going on last year made it really interesting for me, but I want to see a real title challenge.
And what about City then? Because I've spoke there as if it's a 2-horse race. City obviously have finished
I still don't know.
Do you think it's just a bit unsure?
I still don't know. They could absolutely rip it, or they could do what they've been doing over the last season, where they win 2 or 3 or 4 on the road and then go and lose an absolute.
What do you reckon, Watto? City?
I think City will hope that teams think they can play them a little bit, because you see when they get beat in the Club World Cup, if teams play a real low block against them, they find it really difficult. And then a good team on transition. We spoke about Fulham last year with Silva plotting a way to beat them. And I think that real deep, low block and a very good transitional team will still always hurt Man City. But I think because teams maybe in the Premier League will think they're not the City of old, I think he'll hope that it's a more open game and they'll play them to try and beat them. Whereas if they go the low block, I think they'll find it really tough this year.
Man City third, Liverpool second, Arsenal first.
Yeah. You reckon?
If they get those signings, I think they've got a very...
Well, I think Arsenal could run it close. I just think Liverpool are a phenomenal thing. But the only way it gets tight is Arsenal to try and get the signings we've just spoke about. And I do think Eze would be a game changer for them.
But it just, again though, going back, I know we spoke a lot about Man United today, but still not really making any statement signings. Still nobody out the door. Clubs are back for pre-season training now, and still they haven't got anything sorted.
No, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful to them, but like you imagine that you're Ben Foster in the Eze position. You are not going to Man United.
No chance.
And, you know, we know Watkins will make them better, but like Watkins would still be a stellar signing. But the ones who the top teams want, Man United are not even in the mix for that.
No, they're not.
But they got Cunha done early. And he is an absolute player. If they can get Watkins and Buemo, that's a big change for them. That's a big big upgrade.
I agree. I'll tell you what, if the Buemo deal don't go through, right? If they don't manage to get it over the line, it's going to be anarchy at United. The fans, they're going to start rioting again. I promise you they will.
Well,
they will. I promise you they
I
will.
reckon he'll go to Spurs with Frank. I just feel it happening because it's bubbled along so long. We spoke about it on shows before. You see a player, you've obviously worked on it behind the scenes, but when the window opens, boom, get him and he's your man. But because I think Frank's gone to Spurs, I think for Mbeumo and what Thomas Frank's done for him in his career, I think that'll have been a game changer. Plus, he's not going to have to move, is he?
Yeah, he stays there, doesn't he, down in London way.
One thing that isn't in dispute, you're getting battered in the quiz today, lads.
Probably.
What?
Yeah, probably.
Well, it's last one of the season, isn't it?
Come on, I want to see some
this
fighting.
This is his last pre-season friendly, isn't it?
Last pre-season friendly.
Come on, Jiminy. Right, Jamie, are you good?
I'm ready for the quiz. You guys ready for the quiz?
Ready.
We got
You
a
didn't
little
seem
mascot.
too buzzing for the quiz today. You already seem defeated.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
You're fine, yeah? All right.
Off season, mate. Off
No,
season.
do you know what it is? It's like, you know, strikers and they go through the purple patches. He's not scored for a while, and it's
Yeah.
getting in his head.
I've signed a new contract. Mega money, long deal, and the fire is burning less now. So
Gone soft, he's gone soft.
I've been softened.
Wow,
I've been
okay.
softened.
Right, let's start it.
Let's
Question
start it,
1. Martin Zubamendi has just signed for Arsenal from Real Sociedad. But can you name one of the other two players in the current
Merino.
squad
Mikel
who have
Merino.
also played for Real Sociedad? Yes, Mikel Merino was one of them.
Bad player.
Bad player.
Bad player?
Bad player.
It's a bad question.
How was it a
Why
bad
is it a bad
question?
question?
It's not a bad question.
It is. It's a bad question.
Who's the other player then? It's who?
I actually told you that in the main show, so...
It's a really bad question.
Who's the other player?
Kepa.
Is it a player?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. It would be at Arsenal if it went a player.
well, no, because the manager, I think...
Oh.
Yeah,
Mikel.
don't know.
Martin Odegaard was the other one.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Question 2. I have played for Oadby Town, Ilkeston FC. Ilkeston FC.
Right.
It was double. It was like an I and an L, like so. I just threw my head
Ilkeston.
straight away. Sheffield United, Birmingham, Southampton, and Torino.
Che Adams.
Che Adams is the
well
correct answer. Well done, Watto.
Oldby.
Brain
I don't know
couldn't
about
keep up
Oldby,
then.
yeah.
Question.
The old Southampton Players Club, isn't it?
Oh, we got to give him one.
You can't eat that.
What's he got? She.
She.
Oh.
She's got nothing. Leave her alone, Jamie.
Sorry, one boys. Right. Question 3. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is leaving Everton. He is third on the all-time Everton Premier League scoring list. Who is in first?
Duncan Ferguson.
No. You'd have been fuming if that was correct, wouldn't you?
Premier League
Graham
or all
Sharp.
time?
Premier League.
Oh.
Lukaku.
Lukaku is the correct answer.
Well done. Lukaku can't be far behind, can he?
Lukaku 68, Duncan Ferguson second on 60, DCL on 58, and Tim Cahill on 57.
What?
57, Cahill?
Yeah.
What's Yakubu's first name?
He ain't got a first name, it's just Yakubu. The Yak.
The Yak Attack.
Do
you know it, Luke?
Obviously.
Luke knows every bloody question.
Go on.
Benny.
Yeah.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
He's not got that on his shirt, has he?
Benny.
I am Benny.
I am Benny.
Question 4. What was the first club Harry Kane went on loan to?
Preston.
No.
Norwich.
No.
He did go online to Preston, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Did he?
I think he did, yeah.
Sheffield United?
No.
All back in?
What was the first club
Are we all back
Harry
in?
Kane went on loan to?
Leyton
You're
Orient.
all back in.
Is it right?
Yeah, but it was before.
Yes, remember when you did
I just said a wheel back in. and you went,
I
yeah.
did not. I read
He
the question.
did say a wheel back in.
And he said, yeah.
I did.
I don't know, but...
Hey, let the referee, Tom.
It's fine. I'll give it to him. Otherwise,
Oh
he'll start
my!
crying.
Hey, hold on
He'll
a
start
minute.
crying.
Can you remember when I lost on a same decision?
Yeah, I know, but
You little fucker. Fucking told me you were going to ref properly.
all right, you know what? Yeah, no, you're not getting the point.
Fuck. He changed his mind.
Yeah, take your mind.
So he's
Yeah,
fully
Yeah.
reversed the decision
Yeah.
based on being called a little fucker by Watto.
yeah. They're having peer pressure. there.
So basically, Watto loses the plot, you change your mind.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't win either way.
No,
couldn't win either
because
way.
this is honest, isn't it? He made a right arse of it with me.
I'll
stuck
be
to the
honest.
rules.
I'll be honest. At this point, I genuinely think Luke should be coming back in.
I didn't say all back in. I didn't. You went, oh, are you all back in? And I started reading the question again.
Gave him the point.
Wow.
Ben's just even. He's
So,
just
so
like,
who,
what's
gets
the
that,
word? Like,
who gets that point?
No one.
Yeah, but we didn't get
no
a
one
chance.
gets the point now.
No one gets the point.
Numb to it now.
Question 5.
I'm desensitised.
We're in question 2 and this is at 3. This is a shambles.
Question
Jamie.
5.
Question 5.
Yes, you've all got one each.
Shambles.
I think I've got 2, but it's fine. Okay, question 5.
Question 5. Johnny Evans has officially retired from football, but he is the 4th on the all-time Northern Ireland caps. Which former Southampton and Aston Villa
Shame
players
Stephen
tops
Davis.
the charts
Well
in
done.
appearances?
Another Southampton question.
Unbelievable.
140 appearances.
He's just trying to make me win, isn't he?
Pat Jennings, 119. Aaron Hughes,
and-
112.
Proper refereeing.
There's another Southampton question, and when Watto calls him, shouts at him, he just changes his mind.
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, it's like all referees in the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah, I went to VAR. and-
Swayed.
J-Mo.
I did.
I
went
think
to-
in the off-season, I think we need to go to quiz referee training.
I went to VAR and then I didn't say all back in, so.
Okay.
So. Question 6.
Who was the goalkeeping coach at Southampton?
What's the answer? Why?
Who's the England goalkeeping coach?
I can't remember.
Question 6. Where did Asmir Begovic start his career at?
Portsmouth.
Well done, Ben. That is the correct answer.
Good. So you...
1. Tom's on 1. Ben, you're on 2. What are you on 2?
Thank you, Jamie.
No worries. Question 7. What is the only other country that David Moyes has managed in apart from England? Spain is the correct
Sociedad.
answer.
Sociedad.
Sociedad.
Bad question.
Such a bad question.
I think there's no way it could be easy as that.
Question 8.
2-2-2-2.
Yeah.
2-2-2, sorry.
Former Sunderland midfielder Julio Arca joined Middlesbrough in 2006, but who was the manager that signed him?
McLaren.
2006. Southgate.
Not McLaren, sorry.
I'll just wait.
Southgate?
Just wait.
Gareth Southgate is the correct answer. This
How
is
have
his
you
first
not heard
ever
Southgate
senior
and said yes?
signing.
You said Southgate, you didn't say a word.
No, because Luke said something to me, so then I said no to him and then yes to you.
Yeah, about 5 seconds later.
I said no to him about 5-second delay.
Yeah, but as soon as, even if you're saying no to him and you hear Southgate, you just go, yes,
What's
Southgate.
going on today, James?
Just being mean.
Right, I
Just
think this
being
is that
mean.
Rashford intervention moment. Is everything okay?
Okay,
Apart from being crucified in the workplace, is
Yeah.
everything
Would
okay?
you like a cuddle?
Yeah, I would. Yes. Thanks for it. Thanks for it.
Yeah. It's all right calling him a fucker when you get your point, isn't it?
I didn't get a point for that.
Yeah, you did.
Ben
You
lost
took the
one.
lead. Should be happy.
Yeah, you're winning now, aren't you?
Question 9. Where did Chelsea sign Kepa from?
Bilbao.
I Athletic Bilbao. Answer.
You want to ask him any more Atletico Bilbao or Sociedad questions?
Second team, Bilbao. Thank you very much.
Exactly. And a lot of Spanish in his...
Coursing through my veins.
Yes, exactly.
Question 10. In what country did Noni Madueke make his professional debut?
France.
No.
Belgium.
No.
Italy.
No.
England.
You can't. He didn't say all back in.
Yeah. But it's correct.
So is he out, though?
Yeah, he's out, yeah.
Good.
You're all back in. No.
Belgium.
No.
I've just said that.
In what country did Noni Madueke make his professional debut?
Spain.
No. It would be funny if it was.
Are we all back in?
No. All out. Netherlands. Played for Jong PSV and PSV.
Well, Jamie, that just might be the worst one yet.
I enjoyed it, mate.
But do you know what I'm saying? It's pre-season friendly. You've just got to...
Did you make this quiz this morning?
No, I didn't.
Are you going to do something about the cards?
Yeah, I will be, yeah. Bring some cards in for next season. Yellow and red cards.
Yeah.
But
can you give them to yourself?
I think we should have a challenge. You know, like in Hawk, is it they do a challenge on the tennis when you can challenge a decision?
Yeah, it's...
Do you remember a few weeks ago when I said Ryan and he went, could just be any Ryan? like Ryan's the most common name in the world or something. And now I've got done today because...
It kicked off.
You didn't fully give me a nod or a yes or something.
It was right,
like
because
that.
I got done on that a few weeks
and
back.
you fully reversed your
it's like
decision.
you tried taking a quick free kick but haven't blown the whistle. That's what it's like.
I like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is...
he's done in that.
So what you're saying is he's a fucking cheat.
yeah.
So what happens then when Watto just goes mental next week? Will you change your mind?
No.
If I'm right, though...
It's in the rule book.
Yeah,
You know what
but
I mean?
was right,
I'd
wasn't
love to see this report.
Yeah, I've got like a 4-page document, PDF. And
Just for the audience at home, we do genuinely love Jamie.
yeah.
Of course.
This is, and we don't have an HR department.
We
That's
are.
the HR department.
It's there.
That's all right, isn't it? You're not bullied or victimised, are you?
No.
You what? No.
Anyway, look, you ready? See you later, you lot. Well
See you
done.
later. You got the right camera this week. Well done, mate.
See you later.
Come on.
Bye-bye.